Hello and welcome to another episode of the vocal fry.
The Lume Plotters.
The Lume Plotters.
The Lume Plotters. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
we are back, of course.
I think I play that too often. I just sit here in silence, and then you have to fill in the blank.
I have to fill in this. Silence is so
there's only
powerful.
so many options. There's only so many things I can do. All right. What were you saying? Sorry.
I was saying silence is so powerful. We had a comment recently on one of our episodes and saying like, hey, you're all over the place. There's too many long gaps and you're falling into each other word. You speak over each other. There's something wrong with your audio. And I listened to the source audio and I thought
this as a message?
No, the audio is okay. The audio is absolutely fine. We're just both talking at the same time.
No, I got this exact. So one of our, I would say a what's the word for someone who's always listening? What is the word I'm looking for?
Subscriber.
Not reliable.
Fan.
No, but it's somebody who's always communicating with us.
Oh.
What's the word I'm looking for?
A commenter.
No.
A fan. A friend of the show.
My mind. He's a friend of the show, but I'm saying like someone who is reliably always interacting with us.
Okay.
What is the word for that?
Is there a word for it?
There's a word for it. There is a word.
He's a wonderful person.
By the name of Liam, he always messages us.
Yeah.
And he has said that the exact same thing. He said, hey guys, I'm sorry to say, but I couldn't listen to your latest episode about summer watches. There was something off with the mixing of the audio track, which meant you were speaking over each other. And I responded with, I don't think there's anything wrong with the audio. I just think both of us were speaking over each other. I think we're both a bit overeager.
Yes, I think that's unfortunately true. Yeah. So I think it's the mixing, of course, makes our voices and then also in the same volume, of course. Yeah. I mean, look, we could do something that's called ducking in audio processing. So
Dugging? Is that something to do with Doug watches?
Ducking, like a duck. So you're going
quacking.
You're ducking basically. You're putting your head down. You duck. You know when somebody throws something at you and you're ducking away from it. So that means that the audio of one person overrules the other one, and that every other channel gets lower when this person talks. Of course, I would set this to me so that automatically your voice gets softer. So I will always just be the person everybody can hear.
Sounds
I'm
good.
joking. We are not doing this.
No, of course not.
Yeah. So I wanted, before we start with everything, I wanted to show you this. I'm sharing this on the screen here for everybody, of course, listening to us. It is a watch which is a very minimalistic watch that could be quite interesting in its conceptual thing. It's called the CW&T solid state watch. And what this company has done is, and this is absolutely fascinating, for about 200 euros or 180 euros, they have taken a Casio F91W module from this $10 Casio watch, and they put it
Something's not right. It's not a Casio F91W because it's missing the date.
There's the date.
Sorry,
and there is a small sticker covering the date. I'm not sure.
No, but the date, it would be year and date.
No, there's no year.
No.
There's no year.
Yes.
So
F91W doesn't have a. No, it doesn't. You're right.
I show you. There's a better explanation of this watch here. So they show really how they do it somewhere.
Why is there a sticker?
To cover the date.
Because you can't set it or what?
Yes, because here's the original F91 module. Here you see the date.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, they just cover it with a small sticker. And this is the weirdest thing. They take the module, they communicate with you in which time zone you are. They basically set the watch, then they cover it in resin so that you cannot touch any button of this watch. It is completely sealed in this resin. You get this on this textile Velcro, not Velcro, on this elastic
single pass,
textile strap. And it's see-through resin, so you see the module, and you have an orange sticker on top of the date, and that's it. The watch you cannot interact with this watch. It will last.
I really like it.
It lasts for 10 years, and then that's it. You throw it away because you cannot even change the battery.
I think it's super cool.
See, I knew you would like it, and I think
I really like it. It's just so cool.
But you can't even set it, and I mean, and you know that it's not the super most precise watch, right? The F91W. It will go wrong by like half a minute, a year at least. So I don't know. For 10 years running around with a watch that might be 5 minutes off eventually, or 10 minutes off, I don't know. Is that cool? I still can't get my head around if that's cool or not.
I think this is something that if you wore it to Dubai Watch Week, everybody would be like, what is that?
Yeah, it's here about Che Wai Wang and Taylor Levy. They're Brooklyn based. They do some design, and they have backgrounds in architecture, film, and computer science. And so they have won some awards for design awards for other things. So I think this is a company, well, it just looks funky because it's the 32 millimeter resin case, right? I mean, it's just,
and it's round.
Yeah, it's round, and it looks a bit industrial, but also not very sophisticated, if I might say, because it looks like it's hand filled.
But resin. Why did they put the sticker? I don't get.
I think they want to hide the date, because I don't know if the F91 is a perpetual calendar.
Maybe it's not. So
yeah, so that means it would be off in 10 years. It will be off.
Oh, because it doesn't show you the month.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't show the month, it only shows the date. Then you still have to adjust it as if it was a regular day date.
You know what? I will go and get my F91 and see if I can set the date properly. It doesn't really matter. They have decided to put the sticker on it. So and the day of the week, of course, will never change. So that's fine. It will always be fine. It will
does not have automatic calendar that adjusts for varying lengths of the months or leap years.
Oh, I see. It's a very basic module. So that means that's why they have covered it, because it will go off then.
Yes, exactly. So that makes sense.
Yeah. But I find it fascinating. You are taking a watch for $10 that has more functionality. You just put it in a transparent case and charge 20 times more than it costs. And it's somehow still cool, just because it's the non-fidgety watch. Because there is, I mean, this is like the embodiment of the perpetual idea from Rolex, right? When they said you do not have to set the watch because it will perpetually run if you wear it, right?
Yeah, but I still think that I would, I like it, but knowing that I can't replace the battery, that's the only thing that I would be upset with.
Yeah.
I would, because I think if they made a battery door, then you could get away with everything. You wouldn't need buttons. All you would need to do is essentially remove the battery. Whenever you put it back, it's going to, I'm guessing, not memorize anything, right? It's going to be midnight on Sunday. So all you have to do is wait till midnight on Sunday, and you could always perfectly set the watch. And you put the battery back in and you're good to go. I think that's what they should have done.
Okay. So the things that you have to tell them is if you want to have 24-hour display or AM, PM display, and which time zone you're in, and then they set the watch and send it out. I guess then they put the module in and bake it in the resin, wait until it's cured, and send it out to you.
Well, I like it. Cool.
It's an interesting point. 175 euros. You can get it in the wind-up watch shop, for example. Okay,
a little bit much, I think.
Yeah. So now that's the weird watch of today.
Is this a new thing for us? We haven't even done wristwatch checks, so I don't know why you're so far ahead of yourself.
Sorry, yeah, I was so excited to show that to you.
No, it is very cool, and it was on Kickstarter apparently. Before it came.
Okay.
So now let's talk
Yeah,
You want to go
wrist
first?
check.
You tell
Okay.
me. You
Okay.
tell me what you're wearing.
Okay, I am wearing my Norcane Freedom. I don't know exactly the model number. See, now is it the Freedom 60? Is it?
Is the Freedom.
It is a Freedom. This is the watch.
Liberty, the Freedom.
It's a super comfortable watch with a wonderful rubber strap made by BV. BV, that's the guys who make basically all the Swiss-made high-end rubber straps in the world. One of my favorite Swiss suppliers in the world, because they do the rubber straps, Swiss-made rubber straps. And they have a big cooperation with Norcane, and they make the rubber straps for them. Super comfortable, very nice watch with a carbon dial on it, a carbon structure dial, black date window, ceramic bezel. It's a lovely watch. I wish the Lume would be better.
Yes, you said this when it was
last time,
dark.
but
Yeah.
Again,
exactly.
It's not bad, but it could be better. But other than that, it is just a lovely everyday watch. It's super cool. It's robust. Has a nice buckle as well from Norcane. It's a very, very nice watch. It's
nice.
Nothing more to say. It's just a wonderful Garda watch, as they say. Right? Go anywhere, do anything.
It is. I still prefer the Wild one. Especially now the new size, the 39mm Wild one.
Yeah,
but
completely
of course
different price level, right?
That's why. Yeah. No. Remember, we saw there was one guy in our group selling a Wild one, the bigger one, for the same price, roughly. It was 11K he wanted or something ridiculous.
I paid 2,500.
Yeah, it was still roughly the same. 8.5, 11. It's in the same ballpark, right?
I paid 2,500.
Oh, sorry. I heard 8,500.
No.
2,000.
This watch is, I think, retail 10 or 11K, and I got a really, really, really good deal on it, unworn.
Well,
yep.
What am I wearing? Okay. Well, I did go on a bit of a shopping spree this weekend.
Oh,
I got a few things.
Let it rain. Let it rain.
Unfortunately, not in a good way. I've spent a lot of money. So I had already decided before this weekend. I just needed to go to Dubai to buy it because in Elaine we don't have any Hamilton dealers. I said I want a Hamilton khaki again. I sold my Hodinkee one because I didn't. I felt the Hodinkee dial where they only had the 12-hour Arabic numerals. I felt it was too plain. I missed the 24-hour dial of the Hamilton khaki, the original, the field mechanical, the hand wind one. So I did go and rebuy the Hamilton khaki mechanical, the manual wind field 38mm, the little beater watch.
Yep.
So I really like this one. It cost me 2,000 dirhams, which is, after discount, it was 2,000 dirhams, which I think for what you're getting is an absolutely really good deal. So the Hodinkee one I ended up selling for more. So I did get this one cheaper. Of course, this is not the limited. This is just a regular one, but I do think it looks better than the Hodinkee one. Now, then I bought a bracelet for my Black Bay 54. So now I do have the OEM bracelet for that as well, which that cost me a pretty penny as well, as much as this watch cost, and that was secondhand. Retail price for that bracelet is like 4,000 dirhams, which is a bit much for a bracelet, a Tudor bracelet nonetheless. So I did buy that. And then the last thing I bought, which is, I got it from a friend of mine who had bought his Black Bay 54 on the bracelet, and then he went to the AD and bought the rubber strap.
Oh, okay.
So he swapped to rubber, and then I bought his bracelet, but then I realized like we should have just swapped straps, and that would have been a much more economical thing for both of us, because the rubber strap setup with the buckle is 3,000 dirhams. And then the bracelet is like 4,000, and he spent 3K on this rubber strap. And so nonetheless, he would have been better off just swapping with me. And then, of course, the final thing that I bought, as you may know, I did have the Grand Seiko. I had the SBGW 231, which was the 37 millimeter 3-hand watch. Then afterwards, I sold that in my big, I want to sell everything move, and sold it. And then I regretted selling it. And then I said I would like something similar. And I ended up buying the European edition SBGW 269, I think it was, the silver dial. And then I sold that on the auction. And I even called Ralph and I said, you know what? I don't want this to sell. I want to keep it. And then as soon as I said that, there was a bid and then it sold. So
Like
I was
it
like,
always
ah,
is.
crap.
You think,
Yeah.
it won't sell, so I keep it. That's great. And you rub your hands. And
And I
feel
was
like,
wanting to
great.
sell it and I was thinking, should I put a bid in it? Like, I don't know what to do in this predicament. Nonetheless, it did sell. So unfortunately, I was
What
screwed.
can you do?
So that went, but I kept an eye out and I was like, you know what? I will get this back. The 231, the SPGW 231 has been discontinued, replaced by the 301.
Okay.
Looks identical. The only difference is, of course, it's a significantly higher price. We went from, I think, 4,300 US to, or 4,300 euros to 5,100 euros. So 800 euro price increase. So I didn't want that one. I was not going to pay that much. It was the same movement, same everything. The only difference was there was an issue with how they glued the crystal on because they used glue and there were like microscopic little air bubbles with a loop you could see. So people were not happy about that. So they said, okay, why don't we do no glue at all? And that's what they did with this new one. Is now it's not glued crystal. It's just secured with the bezel. Nonetheless, it's been discontinued for about 2 years now, one and a half years. The one that I used to have. Nonetheless, I still check once in a while to see if there's any of them popping up, and there's none in UAE popping up. And then guess what happened? On Friday, I was at watches.ae, which is the watch house.
Yes.
And they had one SBGW 231. And once again, this is a 1.5 year old watch that was discontinued. I don't know where it came from. Didn't ask any questions. I called them up and I said, I want it, but I want a discount. So they gave me 10% discount and it should be coming today. So this is the little 37.
Let me open this. What is this? SBG?
You know, BGW 231.
W2.
You know this one. This is the one that I had. This is the original of the three-handers.
Oh, right.
The Japanese Calatrava, the boring one, the champagne dial. So back to this one. But since then, I have acquired a heap of 19 millimeter straps. So I'm very excited because I'm going to try all these different strap colors out.
Yeah.
So this is a watch that looks absolutely so boring in pictures, but it has a matte champagne dial. It's so cool in real life. I'm a fan. So back into the collection it goes. Which now means that, if I'm not mistaken, the only watches that I have gone out of my original collection are the Santos, the Sub, and the Datejust. Everything else has come back.
Interesting that you
shows
actually,
you that,
which is a bit of our topic today to a certain extent, right? Is it the Heritage Collection, right? No.
No, it's Elegance.
Oh, yeah, of course. It must be the
Elegance. That's the new one. The 301 is the new one.
Okay, let me see. Is the old one there?
It's not there anymore. Not there anymore. As I said, it was discontinued.
SBGW231. Let me see if it's still somewhere on the website if you search for it.
No, it is not.
Okay.
The 301 is the direct replacement.
Okay.
Where it came from, it said one piece available, and it should be. So the boutiques still have them, but the Grand Seiko website does not.
Yeah, some of them.
So I guess some boutiques, I don't know if this is making inquiries, so you can't buy it.
See, this is the one thing
UK.
that we discussed, I think, last time, when we said the accuracy, they're saying like the mean accuracy rate is +5.
The mean, exactly.
-3.
So
but
I looked this up
it's
again.
but actually it's plus minus 10 in daily wear, but if equaled out over a longer period of time, it will be plus minus 3 plus 5. So it's a bit of a weird thing to say that, right? But yeah, what can you do?
I don't know what that means. But it's a super cool watch.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have it. I've wanted another one of these. I didn't know which color I wanted. There was one baby blue one in the auction right now going for, I think, 10K. And now there's a green one right now in the auction.
Yes.
But I think I was thinking to myself, I'd rather pay a little bit extra and get a color that I actually want.
Yeah.
And not go for the baby blue. I don't think I'm a baby blue watch kind of guy. But the green one I do like, but it's the same price as I paid, brand new. So why the hell would I buy this used?
Yes, of course.
But it is nice. The green is a good looking watch for sure.
Yeah, this forest green has something, right? It's something interesting, at least from a color perspective. It could be tricky to wear, I guess, but
and to match a strap with it, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is not a bad looking watch.
No.
But once again, why would you buy this? Unless you just love the color. How much is it going for? Full 13.3, and I paid 14 brand new with the discount from Grand Seiko.
And this would be 13.3 if you get this for the first bid, basically.
No one's going to bid. This is going to be it's going to go.
37 is also.
What will get a bid on this auction will be the Omiwatari, which is the 38 millimeter. Right there, down one, right there. This one is the spring drive. It's essentially the same movement as the Crador Ichi 1 and the Ichi 2. If you look at the back side, the back side of it. So it's a manual wind spring drive.
72 hours, yeah.
The original price on this is like 33K, and it's on the auction for 9.5, which is with buyer's premium 11. What I
particularly like on this watch is this. It's a three-hander. It's a typical spring drive watch. Just in this case, it's hand wound, so that means you have different movement, which is much nicer to look at, to be honest. This hand wound one.
Then again, there's not much to look at. It's just a whole freaking
there's
bridge.
not much to look at true, but it still looks nicer with this big barrel and the polished thing there. It is just has something, and it has the what do you say, the power reserve indicator on the back, which is lovely, right?
I do like that. That's cool
because you have the clean front, the clean dial, which is also quite nice with this baby blue and some kind of texture, right? It has something. I'm not so sure.
It's the Lake Sua texture, right?
Okay. Yeah, okay. Some kind of texture. Okay. Yeah.
But I'm still not a baby blue person. That's what it comes down to.
This is such a, let's see, and it's so faint baby blue that I think in most cases you wouldn't even realize it's baby blue. I think. It's not a very strong baby blue, I think.
It's a strange
it's not
case,
like the Tiffany blue. It's very faint. It's not very
It is,
strong.
it is, but look at this case size. It is very short and very wide.
Mm-hmm.
So it is super
What
weird.
is it, 13.9? Or what is it?
38.5.
38.5, yeah. You need to,
and I think lug to lug is like
it.
43. So 38.5 and lug to lug is 43 or something. So it is
It's a very small watch.
Squat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's that. There's another one watch in the auction which has this the start version of the quartz movement in it. The watch that I wanted to have for longest period of time. I had it in my Chrono 24 search thing there, and I still like it, but I just don't want to pay that price. Still don't want to pay that price for it.
I love the display case back of Grand Seiko quartz models. It's so unnecessary, but it's so cool.
Because it is actually quite well finished, right? You can see that it's actually put together by a single watchmaker. It has a service interval of 50 years. That's what they claim. They say you should bring it in for water testing, but generally they're saying this watch does not need anything for 50 years except the battery change. And it seems to be hermetically sealed the battery compartment from the other things and whatever, so that it's not. It really doesn't need any lubrication, other things. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. The price is still a bit too high for me to actually just go for it. But I really, really wanted this watch.
I agree. How much is it going for right now? It's like 9 or 8.
The price went down. I mean, the retail price was 16,000, and now
they're asking 15.
Yeah,
no,
it's still
absolutely
15.
not.
It's
no
too
way.
much.
No, I don't understand these people that they put something on here, and then they're literally asking 1,000 less than retail. At that point, buddy boy, I'm gonna go to the showroom and buy it brand new.
No, you can't, because it's a limited edition that is not anymore sold. It's completely sold out. You can't buy this watch anymore, and it is actually trading for close to retail. Even though this is a watch that came out, I think in 2022, and it was limited to 2,000 pieces, which is not very small, limited. Not very limited, but it is something that has regained its
but when we say
stable.
that it's kept its value, it generally keeps its value globally. And in the UAE, Grand Seiko is not specifically highly sought after. I don't know why, but I'm excited to have my old Grand Seiko back.
What I like is when you just for people who might not know, if you have a Grand Seiko quartz watch and it has a star on the dial at 6 o'clock, that means it has the higher level of accuracy. So I think it's instead of 10 seconds per year. Is it 15 seconds per year? I don't know. You get a higher level, 5 seconds per year, I think it is. With this watch, but I will confirm this just quickly, just so that we are not talking.
I think it's
talking rubbish.
I'm not 100%, but I think you're right in the ballpark.
It is a higher level.
5 or 10 seconds a year.
Yeah, plus minus 5 seconds per year, exactly. So instead of what they usually do with a 9F quartz movements is plus minus 10 seconds. So they put in a bit better quartz crystal or movement that is higher regulated, whatever it might be, to plus minus 5 seconds a year. Maximum deviation in a year, which is just completely nuts. So given that the battery lasts about 3 years, the maximum this watch will be off in 3 years is 15 seconds if everything goes wrong, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing. I find it even more amazing if you go to the Citizen, the new Chronomaster ones, where you have plus minus 1 second a year. And it's solar powered. That means you don't even have to change the battery. So that is a watch that you can wear for 10 years, and it's a maximum deviation of 10 seconds. And this actually,
it's not a bad,
that is just insane that you have something on your wrist that is so precise without checking the time with a nuclear time or radio settings or anything. It's just intrinsically accurate like this. Anyhow, let's go on. So, do you need a heavy hitter in the collection? Is consolidation the way forward? I am flip-flopping between this. I have consolidated a lot in my collection, and then I realized that I'm now going out and buying cheaper watches and then piling up a few watches, so to say, or filling up my watch box again with some not so expensive watches, like my 2 Grand Seikos that I got for really good deals, like this Norcane, maybe even that Tudor Aeronaut with not so
yes,
expensive.
let's talk about the Aeronaut.
Okay, I have bid on an auction.
Well, I pointed this out to you, and you didn't
and
even.
It just happened 20 minutes ago, just before we started the episode. You pointed out a watch to me that I have not even looked at, which is a Tudor Aeronaut from, I don't even know from which year that is, in 2008, right? Where that was a time where Tudor was weird. And since Martin knows that I like weird watches, he thought, this is weird.
No, not just weird. This is weird cool. Because basically what I have found out with this watch, so I did a bit of Googling. So in case you don't know, it is a champagne dial as well. It says in gigantic block letters across, aeronaut.
Yes, but it's tone in tone. It's monochrome. It's just a shade.
It is very
shade
unnoticeable.
Of champagne.
Yes. So now the thing is, I didn't notice that at first. The first thing I did notice about this watch is, what the hell is this? Because it has 3 pushers and a crown.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually
And the
4
first-
crowns, right? Because they're
Yeah,
knurled, but they are pushers.
So I thought this is some kind of a chrono.
Yep.
Chronograph. And so I looked at it and I thought to myself, this is very strange. What are all these crowns? So I had to do some digging. And turns out this is first thing I thought, by the way, was that it was a quartz movement, but it's not. It is an ETA-based GMT movement in which you have a GMT hand.
Mm-hmm.
You have no seconds hand. No, you do have a seconds hand. It's tone on tone. You have 4 hands, a GMT hand, and then your regular hands. Plus, in a subdial, you have your date window.
Yeah, pointer date in a subdial at 6 o'clock. Yeah.
So now, essentially, you have a crown at 8 o'clock, a crown at 2 o'clock, and a crown at 4 o'clock. And then the crown at 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So these are crown-like pushers, just like on a Daytona, where you would unscrew it to push this pusher. And essentially, the crown at 2 o'clock advances the hour hand. So your GMT time, according to what I found on Reddit, stays the same. The GMT time is the home time. Then you have a travel function. So your hour hand jumps forward or backward by the 2 o'clock and the 4 o'clock pusher. And then your date can be jumped forward by the 8 o'clock pusher. So essentially, they have taken this GMT movement, which these GMT movements, you have 2 versions. For instance, you have a travel GMT, in which case, like my Grand Seiko or the Rolex GMT Master 2, where you do not have jumping date. Essentially, the date is tied to the hour hand, and you have to rotate it through however many times in order to get the date set.
Yep. But forwards and backwards, which is a good thing about it.
Exactly. It can go forwards and backwards. And now on collar GMTs, where only the GMT hand jumps, and there you can independently set the date. Yes. So this is very strange. They essentially took the best of both worlds and put it together.
Yes. Just that they have... I mean, this is an ETA 2892-2 base movement that they have modified. And that is pretty interesting that they have modified it and made it different, because that is, as you said, it's a caller GMT, and they made it a traveler GMT movement, which is mind-blowing that they have done that, and they have done it with extra pushers.
Once again, this is what I found on Reddit, so don't hold me to that exact. I know the pushers advance the hour, but if I once again go back to my sources, the source was it was Watch You Seek, not Reddit, and essentially, I will send the link to you. This is in a different color, by the way, which is kind of cool. They have a blue on blue version as well. And it says specifically, it seems to be a real practical watch for international pilots. The top right pusher advances the 12-hour hand 1 hour. The lower right pusher jumps the 12-hour hand backwards, and the pusher on the 8 quick sets the date. And all this, and it's 150 meters water resistance.
Crazy. I think it's crazy. I think it looks weird. And
that's the whole point.
Different version of it. But I think this is actually the most elegant version of it, to be honest.
I think so, yes.
So
did you see the one I sent you? Because that one's also hideous.
No.
Yours is definitely the best one.
Because
this black dial has black and red, and it has this massive 10, 8, 4, and 2 hour markers.
I mean, look at their design. Is so they couldn't figure out what they want, right? I mean, look, every aeronaut looks completely different.
And
one.
By the way, it has a Rolex Explorer 2 bezel, which is also very weird.
Yeah. And here I think I have to watch what it does and how it works and all of this stuff. It's pretty incredible that they have done this.
But the question remains, why? Why would you do this?
Yeah. I think they just, pushers are cool. Maybe we can just make more pushers. Then we do them screw down so that and you're right.
Yeah, there you go. It's the hour hand. So it is a Flyer GMT.
It's amazing.
There you go.
I mean, this is
cool.
Mind-blowingly cool, right? I think technically it's cool that they have made a movement that is the opposite. It's a traveler GMT and made it. And this all accumulated in the actual Black Bay GMT, where you have basically the same function as in a Rolex GMT Master 2, right? Where you have the Flyer GMT, and how they did this with basically a off-the-shelf movement and just modified it. I don't know if they did it themselves or it's a module from de Pras. They usually do this modifications very well. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. So
yes, I saw it, and immediately I told Ralph, "You need to go and bid on this right now."
And my first reaction was like, "Oh, why would I want this?" And then after you explained this to me, I decided, "Oops, ding, ding."
Hello. Yes, hello.
Yeah, and then when he explained this to me, this watch, I decided. Actually, it's really cool. And then I looked at the case. It's a bit bulky, and I thought, yeah, maybe that's something that I could actually warm up to. And the more I looked at it, I thought, okay, let me place a bid on it, and I did. There was already one bid on it, so I'm now the second bidder. I hope it won't get into a bidding war, and that I can get that watch without actually having to increase my bid. But let's see if I can get it for the bid that I placed. I also like the tan colored textile strap. It looks pretty cool. So let's see. Maybe it will be a new addition to my watch collection.
It looks very safari-ish.
Yes, absolutely. It does. It would be a great watch.
I think this would be. There you go, for you traveling to Africa on your safari style, plus you get to change the hour.
Yes, and I have four crowns to play around with. I can always set the date.
This is the ultimate fidget spinner.
Totally. And 150 meters of water resistance is not bad. That's why they have everything in screw down, right? Yeah.
But on a canvas strap, and the canvas strap has a deployant buckle. It's
pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So it's 17 years old? Yeah. So it's new vintage, no?
17 years old. When you put it that way, it sounds a lot, but it does not look.
No, it's
17 years old.
Well,
except for the aeronaut text. That's the only thing that I think gives it away.
But what I like about it is, it looks also that every aeronaut that they have released has a different set of hands. They have this big, here, this one had this. I know this has the same ones, but
same hands,
this
but it
one
has different
dial. What is
sword
this
hands.
Sword hands, yeah, exactly, and the big arrow.
Yours has the stick hands.
Then this one has stick hands.
So back in the day, by the way, at this point, obviously, Tudor was not selling anything in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
So this is before Tudor re-entered the U.S. market in 2012.
Yeah. They sold in Europe and Asia, I think, only.
It shows you they had some very big crises of faith, because what in the hell is this? And then why would you, on a different color dial, change a handset and the dial and everything else? It just doesn't make any sense. That it seems to me it would be an absolute waste of money. But
they had, I think the designers just for sitting there and saying like, "Hey, let's try everything." Just change everything all the time and see what works. And then eventually, I think with Davide Cerato coming to Tudor and getting them trimmed up, the whole Black Bay line came up, and yeah, the rest is history. So going back to the story of heavy hitters. So I actually am looking at these little, not necessarily impulse buys, but more affordable watches to add to my collection, to add fun to my collection, because I felt that with the heavy hitters, while I do have fun and I enjoy them a lot, it's a bit different. You end up wearing other watches, everyday watches, more, and then realize, well, I don't have that many.
Why do I need this?
Yeah, and then you think like, oh, do I really want the heavy hitter in my collection? Do I really need that or another heavy hitter in my collection? And should I just wear a heavy hitter every day? Or you just have more fun. And I think, like, let's say the Daytona. If I sell a Daytona, I can buy 3 Panerais,
A bunch of stuff,
for example, or whatever I want to do, right?
Yeah.
And will I have more fun or more enjoyment from these watches than I have from this one big heavy hitter? And that is what you have to ask yourself. Is this worth it? I mean, sometimes you think it will be, and then you realize it's not. And sometimes it's absolutely working. So I don't want to sell my Daytona. I love my Daytona and I love wearing it. But there's certain things where you sometimes think, like the full gold versions of watches, where you think, oh, do I really want that in my collection? Because you're not wearing it that often, because it's not the right watch to wear for a lot of occasions.
So this being said, what would you consider in your collection currently a heavy hitter?
Well, I think every watch it's at least from a retail price above 100,000 dirhams, so more than 20,000 or way above 20,000 euros. That would be a pretty heavy hitting.
So
watch
what do you have
me.
in your collection that's there? That is a heavy hitter.
From a retail price, it's it's about there. It's a Girard-Perregaux Laureato, the full ceramic, which is about 90,000 retail.
But you paid like 30K for
That's a different story. What I paid for is always different. I'm just saying the retail price of that.
But is it a heavy hitter if you paid a third of the price?
For me, no. But for the perception of that watch could be for people.
Yes, okay.
Right? Not necessarily for me.
But then in the same way, your Daytona is a heavy hitter.
Yeah, but
even though it wasn't that price.
But not the retail price. Yeah, for retail price, it wouldn't be a heavy hitter. But for me, it was because I paid that much.
Exactly.
The overseas is a heavy hitter.
The overseas is a heavy hitter.
The Blancpain is a heavy hitter. I mean, I paid, I think, 48,000, but it is a 120,000 dirham watch if you pay retail for it. Right? My Blancpain.
The calendar, right?
My annual calendar.
Yes,
Hunter
gold.
Hunter case bag. Yeah, solid gold.
I don't know.
These are expensive. Pretty expensive.
I don't have any heavy hitters. I would say the heaviest of hitters that I have is just the JLC Reverso. And I think I have thought about this a number of times and said, okay, should I, sell a few things and buy a Patek?
Mm-hmm.
The best example that I could give of this was my heaviest hitter, I guess I should say the watch that not retailed, but fetched the most amount of money was my sub. I bought it for like 25K brand new, but then when I sold it at some point, it was like 60K retail, right? Or retail at 60K on the secondhand market. Yep. And then when I finally sold it, I sold it for 35K. And taking that 35K, I have bought myself essentially a Pelagos 39 and a Black Bay 54.
Mm.
And that is if I were to buy them at retail. So selling a sub, buying you could buy these two Tudors. And I argue that these two Tudors go far, above and beyond what the sub did for me.
For you,
right?
Yes,
I have two watches.
Absolutely.
They're both different watches. And this kind of then made me understand that I don't really care at the end of the day how much something costs. What I do care about is whether I like it.
Yeah.
And I tried, a lot of this whole nonsense of, I'm going to buy one fancy watch. And then I realized I'm not going to wear a dress watch every single day. Then I realized, just because something is a limited edition doesn't make it better than the original. And that was kind of the Hodinkee awakening. And when I sold a bunch of stuff and bought a whole bunch of Hodinkee limited editions. So I realized very quickly that was a stupid thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then I, of course, am sitting here in a 2,000 dirham Hamilton khaki. And I've come back around to it. Like, I think it's an absolute fantastic watch. It, absolutely has its time. And I would say I will wear this probably with just as much pleasure as I would wear my Reverso. And the fact that the Reverso is, 20 times as expensive makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, and that's what we always say. Like sometimes it's the enjoyment of a watch doesn't have anything to do with the price. It can be that you're enjoying 500,000 dirhams Nautilus,
Richard Mille,
or even 500,000 euros.
Yeah,
Richard Mille, a lot, and that's great. But it can also be that you have a watch that is very affordable, but it just gives you so much pleasure wearing it because it has maybe sentimental value, or it's just wears so well, or you just like it. My point is, and I think I'm coming back to this, sometimes it's and I really got a good offer recently at the Explorer 2 that I had to sell to buy a heavy hitter, because I bought, I sold 2 Rolexes to buy 1 Rolex. But it's I missed that watch a bit, and I thought, oh, that's a good way to buy it back. It's 2 years old and it's way under retail, right? The Explorer 2 with the black
How
dial.
way?
How way? Like 32.
So retail is 39, I think, right?
Yeah, so it's like 32. So it's like $2,000 lower than retail.
Under retail, yeah, which is not.
It's a used watch.
It's a fantastic watch.
Yeah, it's a great watch, and I like it. And I really enjoyed wearing it. And so I thought, oh, that's a good way to buy it to get it back. But then I thought, what do I need to sell? Because I don't want to spend any extras, because I have other expenses at the moment. One dog is in chemotherapy at the moment and all of the stuff. So I'm thinking, no, I will just, I have to sell something. And if I have to sell one watch in order to get this watch, then there's not many that actually would fetch this amount at the moment. So it would be either my Blancpain that will fetch hopefully a bit more, the Gérard-Perregaux. But then I thought, okay, a Gérard-Perregaux Laureato in ceramic.
Or an Explorer.
And getting in exchange an Explorer, I feel like, no, that doesn't feel right. So I'd rather keep the GP because I love it as well. So I thought, if that's the watch I have to sell to buy the Explorer, I'm not going to buy the Explorer. So that's how I ended up not getting it. Now I'm buying an Aeronaut Tudor, maybe, if I win
but this, once again, when you're talking this much, this is G-Shock money for you.
Yes, but also G-Shocks, I'm down to one square metal G-Shock.
And I have one of yours.
Yes, one of them. So I was thinking, yep, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. What to do? I mean, this is where heavy hitters have a place in the collection. And I think sometimes for some people, it's the end of the journey, right? When they're saying, like, I have collected watches for so long and I now know exactly what I want. And I'm selling, let's say, 5-6 watches out of my collection to get this one heavy hitter. And they end up with a 3-watch collection, only heavy hitters. And they're saying, I am now at peace. And that's the end of my journey. And that's
no one has ever said that. No one in the history of the world has ever said that. Once again, I said that I was going to have 5 watches in my collection only. I'm back to 8, not counting G-Shocks.
Yes,
so, yeah. And the thing is, I realized that I just was unhappy with a few pieces. So I needed to move a few things on. And there was a little bit of overlap, but somehow I still ended up exactly where.
How are you missing your Cartier, for example?
I am not missing it. I haven't thought once about it. That's how I'm missing it.
Weird, huh? Sometimes.
It is just such a terrible watch. I honestly, I look at it, and no offense to anybody that has one, but I look at people wearing it, and I'm like, nah,
It's interesting sometimes how you like the watch so much in the beginning, right?
I loved it. And I don't know what happened there, but I am not in any way.
Sometimes it's the right time and place, no? You like
that one definitely was.
Your state of mind is this, sorry.
The Datejust I also don't miss at all. So I don't think it's a one that I would replace. Because once again, I keep saying this, the Grand Seiko that I bought, that I have arriving today, they just called me. They say they're on their way. That costs as much as a vintage. Right now, if I wanted to go buy a vintage Datejust, It's just roughly the same price.
Mm.
And the dimensions are identical, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
However, I just still feel that I would be happier with the Grand Seiko in the exact same dimensions as I would be the Datejust. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just did not wear my Datejust enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something. Sometimes it is like that. I mean, I wore my Datejust a lot when I had one.
Because you had, at the time, a limited collection, right?
No, I had few Tudors. I had one Rolex, which was the Datejust, so I wore that a lot because I really liked it, right? So, but it really depends what else is in your collection, right? So, I'm pretty happy with my collection right now, which is like always the thing that I'm saying and then change everything.
Yes,
but
yes,
actually,
yes.
I am really quite happy. I was so excited when I wore this Panerai so much in the last time, which I completely didn't. I was feeling like, man, I'm buying it back, and I'm thinking like I'm wearing it. I will wear it all the time, but will I? And it was really like that. I have explored so many different straps on it. I really enjoyed wearing it, and I'm still enjoying wearing it. Just now, when I looked at my watch box this morning, I was like, hey, I could wear the Panerai again. But then I thought, nah, it's just not. I have to change the strap first. So,
but this is the thing about these. If you have a heavy hitter, you feel almost obligated to start, to wear it more often because you have to consciously say, I haven't worn this in 15 years and I need to put it on my wrist.
Yeah.
And because it was exactly so expensive. However, if you don't have a heavy hitter, everything, you can do whatever the hell you want. And this is one of the freedoms, by the way, I feel I deleted my, that app, the Wrist Track Pro app. I deleted it. And since then, I have much more freedom because I'm not looking at numbers. I feel that I could just wear whatever I want, whenever I want. And when it hits, the mood, I don't look back and say, well, I haven't worn this in 3 weeks, so therefore I have to wear it. So it's just
that's a good point.
Nice.
I'm doing this to get my pointers. I'm just doing wrist track. I'm still doing this, but I'm not looking at it to what should I wear. I'm just tracking it. Just for my information generally. And I look at it maybe every 2-3 months where I really dive into the data and say like, okay, which watch didn't I wear and why? And that gives me then some indication like, hey, should I think about selling it, right? What's the market right now? Does it make sense? What would I get instead, right? And then you just theorize a bit. But you have said the right word, freedom. And that's free from worries. Being free from worries is extremely liberating, right? If you don't have to worry about it, you just wear what you want. I mean, most people probably do that anyways. They have 1 or 2 watches. They just put it on. That's it. It's my watch. But if you have a collection,
the ultimate freedom would be a one-watch collection.
Sorry?
The ultimate freedom would be a one-watch collection. That is your watch.
Yes. Like we all had at some stage, right?
Yes, we all did have this at some stage when we were children, probably. That it ended there for me, I think. Now, I think the last time I had one watch was, I want to say in the end of university, I had one watch, and it was end of university. It was a Skagen. Remember Skagen?
Yes, yeah.
So I had a Skagen looking slim little thing, and I wore the hell out of it, and I wore it every single day, and I wore it mostly through university. And then at the end of university, I ended up buying a Timex. And at the time, you would be like, okay, this is my watch for like the next couple of years. And then I would buy another one, and that's now my watch for a couple of years. And then I bought the Timex, and the Timex I wore for quite some time. And then I just kind of built on top of that, and I still have the Timex to this day.
But these are the things that's how everybody considers a watch. You buy a watch, and then that's the watch you wear. And then the old watch, you don't even think about selling it, because at that time, that wasn't even a thing, really.
You put it in a box.
Yeah, put it in your drawer, and then that's where it just lives. Probably with an empty battery or whatever. And it's just what it is. But now that we are, of course, in that game here, we have different problems and self-created problems. And that's the thing that you always have to just step out of your own box, look at yourself from the outside and think like, do I really need to worry about this? Do I need to actually, let's say, inconvenience myself with this? Is this actually giving me pleasure or is it creating stress? Because for some people, that is stressful, that in the morning they can't decide which watch to wear. And if that's stressful for you, then you have to change something, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because it's not adding to your life. It's actually making it, it's adding stress to your life, which you don't want. You want to have a simple life, easy, right? So.
Exactly. So my new takeaways, once again, as I said, with my new mentality of, I don't need this Grail watch or whatever it is that we want to call it. The Grail watch is kind of just the next watch, right? Whatever you're looking for at that moment is the Grail. That's what you want, right? We always have this idea that there's something that you want, right? And then as you said, oh, I'll sell something, I'll make it work. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, of course, being that I kind of rebuilt the exact same collection that I almost once had, right? Out of 10 watches, 8 are here with me now. One new one, which is the Pelagos, that's kind of the addition, and then 3 removed. And at the end of the day, I just feel like you can try to do whatever you want. Don't fall for, limited edition and hype and just kind of get whatever you want.
Yeah.
But also you need to, sometimes, stop going for the good deal. And I made this mistake. I would find a watch and it would be some ridiculously, we're not talking cheap, but let's say instead of 20K, it was 10K, but it was not exactly the watch I wanted.
Yeah. I mean, look, I am, as you know, I am the opportunistic watch collector, right? I sometimes wait for, let's say that the last time I saw a Breguet at the auction and I got my Breguet Type 20. I paid 11,000 dirhams for a Breguet Type 20.
Which is ridiculous.
Which is a ridiculous price. But I bought it not because I wanted a Type 20, just because a Breguet Type 20 for that price was an incredibly good deal. I wore it quite frequently, but eventually decided that it's actually not really my watch. I wear it because it's a Breguet and because it's quite interesting. It has a horological value with the Lemania movement in it and all of the stuff. It's actually interesting, right? But was I a fan of the design really? That like 100%? No. It was not really a watch for me.
The funny thing is I never was a fan of it. And then now I got into the Longines Big Eye,
yes,
which is the same design as a Type 20. And I'm like, the Type 20 is actually not bad looking, which I hate to admit because it's a terrible watch and nobody should buy it, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And especially the one you had the blue dial, which I think the blue dial was even better.
Yes, I had a special one and I had the extract of the archives for it. And
you had a special one because it was a dial swap.
Yes, somebody swapped the dial to the blue one, which was actually reserved for only the white gold versions of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? I mean, this is, again, did I miss this watch? No. Did I miss owning a Breguet? Maybe. You know what I mean? This is like you're thinking about this. It was a Breguet and you sold it. You got a Breguet so cheap. Are you stupid? And then that's when I sometimes
I have
think
the same thing with my Cartier is I do not miss owning that Cartier. Do I miss owning a Cartier? Yes.
Yeah, see, that's sometimes a bit, yeah.
However, I was, once again thinking Cartier is twofold. You can get yourself for 10K a quartz Cartier and call it a day, or you could pay 150,000 dirhams and buy some ridiculous Cartier as well. And this is the problem is I think Cartier is a brand for design. And as such, we should take the movement aspect of it out of our brains, right? And just kind of remove that and say, buy whatever you want, whichever Cartier you like, just for the design itself. So buy the Tank Solar Beat because it's a or whatever they call it. Is it Solar Beat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Solar Graph, Solar Beat. I have no idea.
Solar Graph is Tag Heuer. That's why I was confusing.
But they don't have it anymore,
right?
right? I think the solar movements.
I think they still do. I think they still. I looked and they still have it, and it's $13K for a brand new, solar Cartier, and I think that's a kind of a cool deal.
Yep.
Once again, if I wasn't so averse to quartz, I would probably get it. But I don't think that is something that I can kind of overcome right now is my solar, not hatred for solar, just disdain for solar and quartz.
Yeah, I think
this is not it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they say it's a high autonomy quartz movement.
I think
the hell does that mean?
This is
high autonomy. It clicks, it ticks by itself. You don't need to tick it for it.
But this is not anymore the solar. I think they changed back.
No. This is the solar was the white dial, the silver white dial. The colored dials only came in regular quartz. But I checked maybe a few months ago and it was still there. But it will say Solar Beat.
Yeah.
If you just do a search and put in solar.
Let me see. I just check here. Quartz. No, that's
why would only two things come up?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. It's weird.
But it's from the last time I checked, Cartier.
See, there's
Solar
way more
Beat.
quartz. Anyhow. So, yeah, but my point is there. You are right.
It's still in the U.S. shop.
Okay.
Maybe it was just sold out here.
Maybe.
So the U.S. has it available.
Or maybe they're just not mentioning it. Yeah, who knows? It's just my point. There is that this is. I heard somehow that they discontinued the solar quartz movements for whatever reason.
They said this for a while.
Yeah,
and then,
maybe it's coming back. Who knows?
No, I don't think it ever actually was discontinued. I think they had a limited production because they had an issue with it. And then now it's back. But then remember, they say that it's supposed to be good for 17 years, the battery, and then nobody knows actually what happens after 17 years.
You can change the battery, right? You can get a new rechargeable battery in it.
Theoretically, yeah.
Yeah, I have this one for my Citizen, which is basically it's the same EcoDrive movement, right? It's from La Jouperet because it's Swiss made. You have to have a Swiss made movement, otherwise you can't call your watch Swiss made. It has to have a Swiss made movement, and that's why they have the La Jouperet version of this Solar Beat movement, which is based on an EcoDrive movement from Citizen, but made in Switzerland, so that you have a Swiss movement. And mine is now about 17, 18 years old. My Citizen watch, or probably even closer to 20 years old. And it still works, but it does not keep its power anymore for like 6 months when it's in the drawer or something, but more like 3 weeks. So if I'm not wearing it, or if it's not outside, getting charged, it doesn't last very long. So it is on its way out, the battery. I think it doesn't keep much charge anymore.
Yeah.
But it is 20 years old, and that's completely, if you wear this daily.
And it's not hard to change these, right? You can easily change them.
Yeah, you can change it. You have to just go to the Citizen guys. You can't change it yourself because you need a very specific, if you can get the battery, you could probably do it yourself. If you can open
because the same thing with G-Shocks, the solar G-Shocks is the same exact situation.
Yes.
You need to have a specific battery.
Yeah, you can get it, I guess, when you can change it yourself if you are so inclined. But I don't think I could even open this case back anymore, because I need to also change then the gaskets and all of the stuff, because this watch is 20 years old. When you open it, everything will fall to dust, right? The gaskets and stuff. They might still be water resistant right now, but once you open it, it won't be after that. So you need to have new gaskets in it. So yeah, I think I'll probably bring it to service, because I still love that EcoDrive Citizen perpetual calendar chronograph. It sounds really good.
Yeah, you showed me this one.
I love it, yeah.
So anyway, there you go. Here we are talking about
EcoDrive Citizens.
End game watches, and here we go with a Citizen EcoDrive. So it goes to show that I think oftentimes selling everything, you will miss those cheap watches. Like I thought to myself,
they will creep back into your collection.
Yeah. I with the Hamilton khaki that I'm wearing, I said to myself, I'm never going to need this. Why would I? I'll just wear my Tudors. And it just, feels a different, vibe.
Yep.
This idea of having something that's, 2,000 dirhams, I'm still amazed that Hamilton can pull this off for 2,000 dirhams. And it's a fantastically robust 80-hour power reserve watch.
Technically, it's all the watch you need.
It is.
There you go. Yeah. And it is meant, I mean, look, we are all differently wired. You're in different phases of your watch collection. I think this is one of the phases we are sometimes in. I love my overseas. I'm very happy that I had this watch. Since I tried it from a friend many years ago, I thought if I could ever get an overseas, I would be the happiest person in the world. I got it now.
And look at you, you're still miserable.
No, but I love this watch. I will not sell it. I want to have an overseas in my collection, and it's fantastic. I really enjoy this watch. But it's when you have your Grail, sorry, that you sometimes think like, okay, but I still want to have every now a new watch.
What's
I want
next?
to experience something different. But it doesn't have to be anymore that expensive. I'm not lusting after a Nautilus at the moment or after a Royal Oak. Will I maybe get one eventually? Maybe. But I'm not that driven to get one. I don't want to, at least at the moment. I mean, that can change, of course, right? Well, who knows? But I'm happy with what I have right now. But I do want to have every now and then some quirky or fun other watch going in and out of my collection. And on that,
Yes.
fantastic bombshell, we should call it a day and speak to you in a week.
Yes.
Maybe with a new watch alert of an aeronaut.
Yes, I hope so, because I do think this is really, really cool.
I would really like this, but I have to restrain myself from getting into a bidding war because I don't want to.
As I said, I think 4K all in is the max.
Exactly.
Because if you look at how much they're going for, it's about 8K, 7 to 8K is before import duties and before all the nonsense is what you're going to be looking at. So see what you can do.
Exactly. Let's see. All right. You will know next week because the auction will be over by that time. So then, see you then.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you.